Wow. Welcome to Target. I'm your host, Atlas Aultman, former military commander turned best-selling author, now bringing you a podcast that you can use so that you can figure it out for yourself. Welcome. This is Targeted. All right, welcome back to Targeted. Today, I am in Atlanta Pentagon Studios again because this is a phenomenal place to be, and I have a phenomenal guest with me. His name is Ben Owen. Say hi to everyone.
Howdy, howdy.
All right, so Ben is an author, an entrepreneur, a former addict, nonprofit founder of We Fight Monsters, Black Rifle, husband, father, grandfather. Doing good things in bad places is something that really resonates with me, and I see that a lot on his feeds. But he's been going to hell after he escaped it. All those things that I said about you are things that I personally picked up. How do you describe yourself when people ask you?
Either you're very perceptive or I've done a good job portraying myself. I'm a daddy to 7 biological kids, but 9 kids. I've adopted 2. I'm a humanitarian. I do good things in bad places for fun. Addict and alcoholic in recovery, serial entrepreneur, and author.
Yeah. So I know our books have been put together a couple times by some of the people in both of our collective networks. And I'm like, man, I can't wait to get Ben on the show. And just recently I was like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. I'm going to talk to him next week. It's going to be awesome.
Oh man, that post caught me off guard. There's a bunch of good books in that stuff.
I'm telling you, man, it feels good to be in that kind of mix, doesn't it?
Man,
yeah. And that's when you start looking at being an author differently. You're like, maybe I should write another book.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to write another book, aren't you?
I'm in the middle of one right now.
All right.
I say in the middle of, I've probably got like 60,000 words already written. I just went on a tear about 2 weeks ago. The working title's Politically Homeless. I wrote a post. Actually, I made a video complaining about how jacked up our two-party system and everything's got to be black and white that our nation has gotten. And it went really viral. And I was like, I need to turn that into a book.
Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing you were holding up a card like this and it said, hey, while you're busy being a Republican or a Democrat, remember to be a good person. I was like, man, this dude gets me, man.
Well, it just feels like we've lost our moral compass as a nation. The media, both political parties, they push this. You have to be one or the other. It's like you can't recognize that immigration is a good thing, but criminal aliens don't need to be here. You can't acknowledge that abortion is a tragic thing, but there are cases where you need it. You can't be reasonable on any issue.
Yeah.
You have to toe the party line, and I mean that's not real world, dude. Ideology collapses the second it comes into contact with human suffering. Every time.
Do you get a lot of people that reach out to you in private and say, hey, look at this?
I do. And when I first started, especially on LinkedIn, when I first started getting vocal about being an addict and alcoholic in recovery, I had people, blow my DMs up all the time being like, hey, I can't say that because I'm CEO of whatever, but I've been where you are, Here lately, my DMs on every platform are so flooded with insanity or people in Afghanistan trying to get evacuated or Syrians or Ukraine, hey, like you name it. Our name and number has gotten out there in so many conflict zones just because of some of the work we've done that like I can't manage my DMs.
Yeah. Are your DMs more real than social media feeding to you? Do you ever feel?
Oh God, yes.
Like,
oh yeah,
the world is noisy,
dude. 100%. And that was one of the reasons I just knew I had to write this Politically Homeless book. Every time I've posted anything that ended up in that book or taken something from that book and repurposed it into a post, it's gone wildly viral. And people in the comments are, for the most part, being rational, logical human beings. What I'm used to and what actually made me start making these posts and that sign that you referenced is like, we'll put up a post. I mean, look at me. I'm a bearded white dude covered in tattoos. I served briefly. So everybody and I make my living from the gun industry.
Yeah.
Like that's how I actually earn a living. And so everybody assumes I'm, like ultra right wing. Nothing could be further from the truth. I hate both sides. And so I would put up a post about, we just shut down this trafficking operation, saved, some kids, and invariably somebody's going to jump in those comments and start saying dumb stuff like, but you're a maggot or you're a libtard. And I'm like,
okay,
what? We just saved a bunch of kids. Like, why does it, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Politicizing it.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you feel that AI is involved in this? Like your algorithm is AI. I want to start off with that commonality. But I feel so. I have friends on the left, and I have friends on the right. I like to consider myself far center because I'm like you, man. There's a gray space to everything. There's not a black and white.
There is. I don't even notice it. Like, I think that's part of the problem is that we have to be left, right, or center. And like, I think politics is like this giant spectrum. You're everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say it. I'm a rabid libertarian. I think the gay married couple should be able to guard their marijuana farm with F-16s if they can afford them. That's my politics summed up in a statement. It sounds funny, but like, I really believe that.
Yeah.
You know, it'll never happen.
Where did you come up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. The maximum rights for maximum people at all times. Like, I think that's how it should be. Yeah. But to answer your question, man, AI, yeah, there's a lot of bots out there.
Isn't there?
And so I said I make my living from the gun industry. Historically, that's how I've made my living. Here lately, we've built an agentic AI augmented targeting tool to find bad actors. So, think ISIS, Daesh, narcotics traffickers, human traffickers, and we use agentic AI in that. So I say that to say this, AI has got a ton of potential to do really, really good things. Yeah. But in the process of learning that, nothing in my background qualifies me to be a computer programmer or an app developer or any of those things. I now employ developers, but even I have figured out how to make a bot and use AI to make it argue with people, like just as part of that learning process. So it's staggeringly easy to create an account and have nothing but AI generated garbage on it. So I don't know how much of the comments are actually AI driven divisiveness. Probably a lot more than we want to realize.
So with somebody that has a platform like you, after you post something or does your team post it?
No, it's all me.
So whenever you post something, do you just let it go or do you look at it for like the first 5 minutes? How do you handle that?
It depends on what the content is. I used to be real bad about getting in the content, the comment section. And like I don't have time for that.
Right.
I definitely learned I don't have the spiritual bandwidth for that. And it was that in-group, out-group garbage politicizing literally everything we did that made me be like, you know what? I just don't care. So I'll sometimes jump in the comments. If I see somebody saying something really, really stupid and my ego kicks in and I have to tell them they're wrong. But I refuse to let myself get out of that rabbit hole of arguing with strangers on the internet. Like my kids deserve my time, not some random asshole on the internet.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that get stuck in comments. And recently I put a piece out. And it's an opinion piece, man. That's what social media gives you, right? You can have an opinion. You're not going to change my mind on my post that I spent time on and I wanted to put out there.
Never once has that happened.
I don't know why people still do that. But what is it, Nietzsche? I think he said that if you argue with an idiot, there will be two.
That's right.
So I'm like comment sections for that and advertising. Advertising.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me jump back into where I wanted to go with this. So author, you're looking at this problem, this holistic problem, and you're going to write about it. What are the main points that you're focusing on for this book?
The main points are that we have been sold a lie, and I call it the two-choice trap. You got to pick one or the other. Mm-hmm. Nothing in the real world exists in absolutes, and that's really the takeaway: is that we have to break our patterns of thinking to realize that nothing gets accomplished at either extreme. It doesn't mean you can't have extreme beliefs or extreme views. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if there is a problem in society that you're trying to address, you're not going to get it done on the fringe. You've got to get in the middle. And what I've actually found in the work we're doing, some of our best allies in combating human trafficking, combating narcotics trafficking, and combating violent crime are people that are not just polar opposite of me politically, but in some cases are people who were causing those problems: drug dealers, pimps, human traffickers. And then definitely when it comes to elected officials, we work with people on, the other side of the aisle, or however you want to phrase that, all the time. And so the book is really just giving a lot of real world examples and applications of where we've seen that play out.
Will somebody be able to take your book and actually apply it to their life?
100%. I mean, you got to remember, I'm just a crackhead from South Memphis. If I am able to pull off these things and give real world examples of where it worked, I think anybody can.
Well, so I mean, I'm gonna fight you on this, because the reason why you're in here is because you are a man of influence and you're speaking truth in a dark world. Just because you came from the dark doesn't mean you're now the light.
You're right about that. I'm not special. Let's put it that way.
Everyone says that, but bro, I'm gonna fight you on it. I mean, like,
look, nothing we have accomplished has been because Ben wanted it done. It's been this mass effort of a lot of people behind the scenes, God moving through us, and figuring out what the will of the people involved in that problem set is. And when you figure that out and you align a mission around that, you realize you're going to get a hell of a lot more help than just some guy trying to, white knight a problem.
Yeah. I'm going to dive deeper though.
Okay.
Because I think your superpower, and this is just me, it's my opinion, so people can hate on me, but I think your superpower is just being genuine and real.
I would not disagree with you on that. It's if I've been asked what is my superpower, I think it's an ability to connect at a human level with pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
And part of that is definitely because of my background. Like I've lived on the streets. I've been in trap houses. I've been in refugee camps. I've been in the middle of the Afghan evacuation. Like I've done a lot of weird things that give me perspective that most people don't have, and at the end of the day, you got to see everybody as another human being. Trauma and struggle are universal things. And I've figured out over the last few years that it's really easy to connect with somebody when you start with those things. We all have that in common.
With those things as the things that
the things that scuffed us up, our scar stories,
the things that people don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
But they need to be talked about.
They need to be talked about.
Is there a way to specifically talk about those things that you found it's easier? Because, dude, I mean, nobody wants to go and say, hey, I lived a life like this and then I changed, right?
Right.
Which is a story we hear, but
it's so everybody's different, and you have to know the person on the other side of the table before you can start having those conversations. But I'll tell you, man, some of the deepest conversations I've had have been about childhood trauma with dope boys, and like, to be totally clear, I had a perfect childhood. I cannot relate to childhood trauma, but hearing some of the stories, from gang members and people that you wouldn't expect to talk about those things, they'll open up if you give them a chance to, and if you let them know they can trust you. So there's not like a set pattern for how to get those conversations rolling, but it all begins with trust. That trust is the social currency out there.
Yeah. I've seen a field, maybe I've felt it, where you meet people at their rock bottom.
It's my favorite place.
Yeah. And then it's almost like a process where you're like, hey, this isn't where you need to live forever.
Right.
You process it somehow. Something I think I've seen it says where these aren't the days you need to live. There are better days to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, rock bottom, you always hear it talked about, especially in an addiction or alcoholism context. That was the day everything was at its absolute worst, and we decided to change. That's a gross oversimplification of rock bottom. Rock bottom is probably one of the most beautiful places a human being can find themselves.
Why is that?
Because you have, when you hit that, you realize you get to start all over fresh. Every mistake you've ever made can be undone. And I don't care how bad you have fucked things up. You can undo it. You can come back from it, and you get a clean slate. It really comes down to a willingness to let go of ego, which when you're homeless and addicted on the streets, it's not terribly hard to do. I feel like we kind of had a cheat code on that. But when you get out of your own way at rock bottom, if that makes sense, that sense of self has fallen off, and you're able to rebuild yourself as a better person.
And you're a man of faith.
Yes.
And I think I've seen one of your posts say, it doesn't matter how far down, how much you messed up, you're one decision away from changing your whole life.
Bingo. And that works both ways. It works both ways. And I have to remember that, when we're out there on the streets, I got to remember, man, I'm one bad decision away from being right where that dude is, or honestly, probably worse, because when I make bad decisions, I go all in. Just like when I make good decisions, I go all in. But yeah, it's one decision away from turning your life around. I think the post you're talking about, it's no matter how far away from God you've walked, the return trip's only a single step.
That's it.
And that's true. Like I've proven that in my life over and over again. I've tried to keep my path on the straight and narrow now, so I don't have to prove it again,
Yeah.
But yeah.
let me just ask you this very, very blunt question, and you've gotten it before, but maybe I'll ask it differently. When was the exact moment that you knew you were either going to change or you're going to die?
There was a series of them, and that they started in earnest January 5th of 2019. We were renting a house from a Memphis rapper who's dead now, in a gated neighborhood out in Arlington, which is a really nice suburb. It was like 3,500 square foot house, nice as shit. And I guess forgot to pay the rent, and they don't like when you do that. And so I had taken the truck to go get some dope, and I swung a rod, and the engine was toast. It was our only vehicle. And as I'm trying to figure out what the hell to do, Jess calls me and said there are like 7 linebacker looking dudes at our house throwing our stuff out in the yard. So we lost our house and our only transportation on the same day. And at that point, I mean, you know, the shame and guilt, because that wasn't the first house I'd lost. That wasn't the first vehicle I'd lost. Like we rebuilt from scratch once already and had come back, and outside appearances looked like we're kicking ass. The shame right then was bad enough to make me really want to do something different. Over the next few months, there were repeated instances. I think I went to detox twice. Told Jess at one point, it was like, you either get to detox today or we're done. She showed up. And then May 19th of 2019, I got a phone call that a buddy of mine had just been murdered, the father of one of my adopted daughters. And I had been in detox like 2 weeks before that, was still clean. And then me and Jess were like, you know what? We should probably get a little bit high. And yeah. And so when that happened, that was the moment for me. I was like, I am going to burn it to the ground. And if I am alive when I am coherent again, I'm stopping. I left Jess. I went and burned it to the ground. I don't remember 72 to 96 hours of my life. She has no idea where I was. Bits and pieces come back here and there. But at the end of that, I woke up and I called my dad, called her. I was like, I'm leaving. We're done. My dad told me I'd come stay in his basement. I got on a Greyhound bus and actually landed right up the block here at Forsyth Street on the Greyhound.
Really?
Yeah. And I knew I was done because I had money in my pocket still. And a dude tried to sell me crack when I got off the bus. And I was like, fuck you, you know?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I won't say it's been happily ever after, but I was done.
I mean, so Mike Tyson says it this way: when you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil.
100%.
And you have to leave with the right person whenever it's time to exit the party.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a devil, like right there at the other side of that Greyhound bus?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Come on back.
Absolutely. And then the guilt for, you know, leaving Jess in Memphis. But I had to be willing to let go of everything that was keeping me tied to dope, and she just wasn't ready to get clean. 3 days later, she was, you know, and I thank God for that. Like I definitely would not be where I am today without her by my side for this whole journey.
Yeah. I ask this question a lot because it's an important question. A lot of men get it wrong. Do you feel like the most important decision that a man makes is the woman that they have in their life?
It depends on the man, but more often than not, yeah. I think for entrepreneurs, for anybody that is called to a life of any serious purpose, damn right it is. You know, having the wrong person by your side can make or break a man. And having the right one, you know, Jess and I, like when we first got together, we had nothing. We rebuilt everything together and then lost it all. And they rebuilt it again, and then lost it all. And so we've kind of molded each other into who we are today. I think there's something to be said for going through the suck together. Now, I'm not telling our listeners to go start smoking crack and shooting heroin with their spouse and become homeless, but I think it worked out okay for us, you know, in the end. Like we've lived through, like the worst thing you could possibly live through. And it definitely strengthened our marriage. And it set us up for success and all this weird stuff we've done around the world since.
Earlier, you alluded to it wasn't a perfect, or you know, it wasn't, the rocks weren't done. You still had a rocky road ahead of you. What were some things that you experienced between the time where you gave the middle finger to the devil and moments like this right now.
I mean, I'd lost everything. I
Yeah.
was 37 years old and moved into my parents' basement with my wife and a kid. And then, one of the adopted kids came. Well, I hadn't adopted the second one by that point in time. Anyway, ADHD. It was a long road, dude. I've been a serial entrepreneur since, for almost 20 years now. I hadn't worked for anybody else. I didn't have the money to start a business up. I'm not going to ask my parents for a loan to do that when I'm,
Yeah.
Also, if they had given me money, I probably would have just relapsed. So the first several months over here in Georgia were tough, dude. Tough. I had to keep that ego and pride from coming back. I had to take a job, running e-com and data for this guy for like $2,000 a month. How are you supposed to get back on your feet with that?
Yeah.
And I also wasn't doing meetings. I wasn't taking recovery seriously. I drank a few times after we moved here. So Jess's clean date's actually June 1st of 2019. Mine's October 4th because I kept drinking. But after that time, I finally ended up going to AA. I started taking recovery seriously, got a sponsor, worked steps, all the things you're supposed to do. All the things people have been telling me to do since I was 14 years old. The solution had been in front of me for 25 years. I just didn't want to do it because I thought I was special, And that's why rock bottom is such a beautiful thing to me. My ego was in my way my entire life. And being able to finally lose that and rebuild the man behind it is what set us up for where we're at today.
Man, killing egos is a life-changing game.
Absolutely.
And it seems like you had to do it a couple times.
I did. It wants to come back, and that's been a repeating pattern for me. We would rebuild and then I've accomplished. I can be a real man and have a six-pack. There's no such thing as Ben having a six-pack. Hey, I'm going to get a fifth of scotch, and then tonight I'm going to get some heroin. I had to learn that the hard way. But finally accepting, like, I will never be able to consume mind or mood altering substances ever again without disastrous consequences. Once I finally locked that in, it made me realize I'm not special. And I have to do certain things to stay between the rails. And it's worked so far, one day at a time for almost 7 years.
That's going to lead me into this question. What's one thing that you don't want to talk about, as an addict that you feel other people need to know?
Man, I don't know. I've tried to be as open of a book as I can.
I think you're really good at it.
Thing. I don't know.
Okay. Take me back 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah. When you're still battling these things, what are some things that if somebody's listening to this right now that they would find helpful?
That was a good way to get me to think about it. Yeah. So right at 10 years ago, we were actually doing pretty good. I'd already met Jess. Let's fast forward to 2017. So what I never talk about, because it's very uncomfortable, is like, what we put our kids through. People hear that Ben battled a heroin addiction and raging alcoholism, and they just assume like my whole adult life is out there on the streets. It wasn't. And matter of fact, from the first time I did heroin, which was around Halloween of 2013, until the last time I did heroin in 2019, I had more days completely sober from anything than I had actually fucked up. The last 6 months were total fucked up. But what I don't talk about enough is like people see that I have a bunch of kids and they obviously love me very much. Like my two oldest with my ex-wife, they're both grown now. They were, in their early teens when I got clean. They moved to Georgia with me.
Nice.
Because they wanted to.
Yeah.
And so people try to wrap their mind around that, like, well, if Ben was out there high all the time, how did that happen? Well, I wasn't. And that's the uncomfortable part because I was home around them on dope. They never knew it. Like they never saw me trashed or fucked up until, things started getting really bad there at the end. But people got to think about what they're putting their kids through. It sounds really cliche, but kids' shoulders are not designed to bear the weight of our bad decisions. And invariably, in any, big calamity that you see globally, whether it's addiction or inner city violence or sex trafficking or genocide or war, it's always the kids that bear the brunt of that. And so, man, somebody out there that's dealing with what we're talking about, like, dude, look at your kids, man. this is going to impact them. Even though some of my kids who lived through this with me are now grown, they still deal with the after effects of some of that, and that's, it's going to affect them for life.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. People, they don't talk about divorce until you're going through it, and then you open up the divorce for them.
Well, and I destroyed my first marriage with dope.
Yeah. And like people don't really understand that from that perspective until they've done it.
Yeah.
And that's when I said earlier, a lot of men get it wrong. And people rush into marriage.
Oh yeah.
And it's not something to rush into.
God, no. Like, dude, if I could rewind the clock and explain that to, 20-year-old Ben, like, man.
Were you in a hurry?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Well, I got her pregnant. I'd known her since I was 12. She was my first girlfriend. We weren't together that whole time, but we reconnected and went and visited her, and boom, she's pregnant. So I was like, well, fuck, now I got to do it, But we did good. Like we built business. I built the business. She's not the type to be married to an entrepreneur, and we learned that the hard way. Still got a great relationship with her. We talk often.
Yeah.
Share 5 kids,
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to not talk to people when you have kids with them.
Yeah.
And that's just something you don't think about as a young.
Yeah. So to the young guys out there, just remember, you're going to have to deal with her for the rest of your life. Make sure that's something you want to do. Right?
For real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marriage.
Like and I'll say this on this podcast. I've said it before. I hit the ex-wife lottery. Like, she has been great. So I'm not saying anything bad about her. I'm saying this to the other guys out there that might need to think about this.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Every relationship's different, but what I did want to hammer home is you should be in no hurry to find a wife. Yeah, that's a definite big decision. What is the divorce rate now? 50,
It's over
50%.
And, I think for the kind of guys you're going to have watching this podcast, probably a lot of entrepreneurs and people trying to build things.
Yeah,
that takes a very, very unique type of woman to support you through that. Not even to speak, to help you build it, because those are not the same thing, so work ethic, integrity, attention to detail. Like, if she's a perfectionist, that might bother you sometimes, but when you're trying to do things like we're doing, you need that. You need that.
Yeah. So, I go back to Genesis where it talks about, in my Christian faith, the creation of man, and how God was like, well, nothing on earth is gonna make this thing better. Let me put him to sleep and make woman and make for him a helper.
Yeah.
But when you look at the word helper in the Bible, it's a very powerful freaking word. Like, that is the power of God in your life. And if you don't pick the right woman, you're going to have the power of Satan in your life.
100%.
And that's not fun.
100%, man.
So yeah, and it's not all the same journey that everyone God's got you on there. So, from your perspective, whenever you found out that maybe she's not right for entrepreneurship, how did you handle that? What was the discussion like?
Oh, I just started drinking. I drank it. And that, historically has always been my problem. I discovered when I was 13 years old that alcohol took away feelings I didn't like. And I was immediately addicted. And so for most of my adult life, I struggled with a drinking problem. But when I realized, Aaron and I probably weren't the right match, I had been sober for several years at that point, and then said, fuck it, and just started drinking again. And that progressed to heroin, which eventually progressed to an arrest, which progressed to her filing for divorce. So, yeah, I burned it to the ground, man. There was no conversation.
Man, I'm going to switch this a little bit, because burning it to the ground brings me right back to another post that I just find absolutely amazing, and it speaks to you and how you grab attention the right way. And that's a dark night with a flamethrower in her hands. And I'm gonna have Jackson put that in here. Hey, Jackson, put this video in.
Here's me with a flamethrower.
All right, the flamethrower, man. I've seen a couple posts. Tell me a story. Why do you guys have a flamethrower?
Why not?
It's definitely an attention getter.
So I don't remember how we ended up with that. Just saw somebody with it on Facebook. It was like, Ben, I need that. And when she rarely does that. When she does, I have to do it.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the guy, and I don't remember if he just gave it to her or if I bought it from him. Anyway, so Jess has a flamethrower, which is kind of terrifying. If you know her story, you know she stabbed me.
No, I did not.
Yeah. She stabbed me back in 2017. So
why did she stab you?
man,
What did you do? It's your fault.
by 100%. There was a lot of pent up anger about another female, like right after we had met, and I had been sober, and then I wasn't sober, and she got in my face, and I pushed her out of my face, and so she stuck me. Yeah.
Where did she get you?
Right here. I've got video of pictures of it. It's tattooed over now.
Yeah, I
Dude,
see it
there was
now.
so much meat hanging out.
Oh,
my
Is it
God.
gnarly?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you do when did you say
My buddies that
stab me?
yeah. It's like, what the fuck? My buddy zip tied me back together. I think I stayed drunk for about a month.
He zip tied you.
Yeah.
How does that work? How does one zip tie somebody
We
else?
zip tied paper towels to it.
Okay.
Keep it from leaking everywhere. And yeah.
You didn't go to the hospital.
Not on purpose. Like a week later, I had a heart attack.
No,
Legit. And so, yeah.
That was a bad week for you.
It was. Apparently, cocaine and alcohol, it forms a new drug that can only be synthesized inside the human body. It's called cocaethylene. And it is really, really dangerous for arrhythmias. And I ended up having a heart attack, went to the hospital, and so they treated it because it was getting infected. But it was way too late for stitches at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a branding almost.
I do.
Digest now.
Yep, I have several of them, actually. So a few of these scars on my face came from her. She was pretty violent in active action.
Well, let's talk about violence, because I've seen you say that you'd like to stop crime without violence.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I mean, it just comes down to meeting people where they're at, man. You've got to understand a lot of the violent crime in inner city it's not because people are bad. It's more often than not, it comes back to lack of economic opportunity. And the way that presents itself over time, I'm not making excuses for anybody, but I'm just explaining how the cycle keeps repeating. You know, they grow up on the streets, they don't have stable home lives, and they're taught to get it off the block. And so if they see something that somebody else has and they want it, they're going to take it. And as that pattern keeps playing out through somebody's life, it progresses into pretty violent individuals.
Yeah.
So we try to we try to do pattern interruption.
Okay.
It's, if you think about rock bottom in the context of an addict, well, a violent criminal can have the same rock bottom. And so we try to interrupt that pattern wherever we can, and give purpose to these people. Give purpose to the people that are out there struggling with any of the issues we're trying to tackle, whether it's addiction, alcoholism, inner city violence, generational poverty. They all kind of get fixed the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to inject purpose into that person's life and give them something better to live for. Is it going to work with everybody? Absolutely not. Some people, there are bad people, you know.
Yeah.
And for those, we got to remove them from the equation one way or another. You can't always do everything without violence, but I always prefer without violence.
Yeah. I had Sheriff Mark Lamb on my show.
So yeah, that is a man right there that understands this.
Yeah. And we were talking about the Bible, and he was talking about how Jesus, said, you know, if you get hit in the face, it's translated that you should turn the other cheek. And he said to me, and this changed my whole perspective on being a Christian, because a lot of people get that twisted too. And it's if they slap you in the face, show them your other side. It's the actual Greek translation, which it totally changed the perspective on what
Yes, it does.
not give them your other cheek.
Right.
It's show them your other side, because he's around violent people.
Yeah.
And people don't talk about that. But yeah, I'm a fan of being nice until I don't have to be. I'm a Roadhouse kind of warrior. Do you remember that movie?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that used to be me. When I was out there with the grizzly bear, man, I loved going hands on and just being a jackass all the time. But
With the grizzly bear?
yeah,
What does that mean?
active addiction, man.
Yeah, okay.
Active addiction. When I was drinking, I mean, and I don't know if it's a function of getting older, or if I just got tired of getting my ass handed to me, waking up the next day, you know, or maybe I've gotten soft. I don't know, man. I can tell you this. My perspective on violence changed a lot during the evacuation out of Afghanistan, particularly when we were having to catalog videos of people we knew being tortured and killed for the International Criminal Court at The Hague. I got tired of it. Yeah. I'm tired of seeing people hurt and suffer. And I started getting really bothered about, you know, things from my past where I had hurt people. I don't want to be that guy anymore. And I mean, I'll be honest, I've been able to accomplish a lot of really cool things in very bad places by being the nice guy, by being the voice of reason.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I can't ever, you know, get physical if we have to, but I sleep a whole lot better when I can peacefully solve tactile issues.
Yeah, I like that aspect. Earlier, you talked about purpose.
Mm-hmm.
How do you inject purpose into someone's life who's just in a bunch of turmoil?
Yeah. Well, first you've got to try to pull them out of that fire. And that can look a lot of different ways.
Sure.
So we run safe housing. Like if we're talking trafficking survivors, we do job skills training for gang members and violent criminals. Getting them out of that fire, getting their immediate needs met, helping them realize you're not going to lose the whole identity you think you're going to lose. Like dope boy's identity is wrapped up in being a dope boy, you know, but you can have kind of that same feel by becoming an entrepreneur. You know, people have the same level of respect for you. It's just different. And so there's a lot of crafting narrative and changing thought processes involved in that. And, you know, it's different for everybody. We've had a lot, like woodworking, for example, has really appealed to a lot of people.
Really?
That one caught me way off guard. I thought it was the dumbest idea ever. My business partner he loves doing woodworking, building cutting boards and stuff like that. So we opened up a wood shop in South Memphis, and it
blew up.
It did. Like we were selling the hell out of these cutting boards for a while. It dried up, but we got one of the guys that came through is, I forget how many violent felonies he's been convicted of, but they tried to career him out. He's now making Gibson guitars. After coming through our wood shop, we got them hired on at Gibson. Wow. They make all the Les Pauls in Memphis. Yeah. So, I mean, there's just cool success stories coming out of that. Entrepreneurship training is a big deal. I love teaching dope boys how to run businesses. We have one that took the skills he learned right back to the game and recently got arrested with 5.5 pounds of fentanyl. Whereas before he was, he'd get caught with 50 grams or something. So, you win some, you lose some, but the seed's been planted, and whenever he gets done doing whatever, I still talk to the guy while he's in custody, he's going to come back around. But yeah, so back to purpose. I feel like for most of us, men especially, our purpose is going to be tied in some way to service of others who have less than we do. And when you can get somebody that grew up on the streets to realize that even though they don't have much, they can still help people. They can still go out there and be a mentor. They can still do X, Y, and Z. They get a sense of value back, tied to their identity. And it kind of just organically happens from there.
I can see that. And God bless you for that, because a lot of people, they look at society differently. And they think, well, these people belong here, these people belong there. People don't belong anywhere. It's where they are momentarily, but everything's changing. And to show somebody that this can change is a true freaking.
Well, and we didn't set out to do what we're doing. Like, I just wanted to go get my friends clean, the ones that really took care of us when we were out there. And as we were doing that with primarily, addicted prostitutes, we started reconnecting with all dope boys, and they were curious about what we're doing and why they're seeing us in the internet all the time. Like, you're with cops and the DA, or you the police. And it opened up a lot of really interesting conversations. And as that happened, like, I started realizing their life is not what they want it to be either. Yeah. And if you can get to the root cause of where things went sideways, and like I was saying, talking about childhood with them, it made me realize that what I thought the streets were like, even when I was living on them, was not accurate. And that incarceration in large part doesn't fix anybody. It makes them worse.
Yeah, let's jump into that. Prison doesn't fix problems.
Right. And I want to clarify, like, I'm not advocating for decriminalization or anything of the sort.
Yeah.
Jail sucks. Jail helped me get sober. But if you're taking a guy that's selling weed and you're giving him a multi-year prison sentence, what? Like,
Yeah.
let's put some guardrails up, make sure he's not selling, there are other alternatives. They're going to do something better for the community. Or car thieves, for example. Some of our best volunteers were professional car thieves. If you send them to prison, the victim of their crime is paying again to house that person.
That's true.
You're re-victimized. They don't get the car back. They're not getting restitution. So looking at things like restitution courts, where similar to a drug court or an accountability court, alternative sentencing arrangements, to where you've got court supervision, it not only costs the state dramatically less. The average cost of housing an inmate for a year in Tennessee is about $45,000. The average cost for a year of alternative sentencing is about $10,000. And by the way, that criminal is now working and paying taxes and paying restitution. If you can get them to work those programs, it's always best. It's not going to work for everybody. Like they tried to give me drug court. I got myself kicked off. I wasn't ready for it. But there is a large set of the population of car thieves, drug dealers, the list goes on and on, who are sick of it and just want some sort of a path out. They just need some guidance and some guardrails put up. Holy
crap. I mean, do you think we have in this nation a problem with prisons?
Hell yeah, we do.
You think it's corporate? It's become a
prison for profit, man. It's crazy. Like we have the largest prison population by far in the entire world, and we're the most civilized nation on earth. That's there's a problem there. Prison should be for murderers, child molesters, people that steal millions of dollars. Normal people are not, in general, going to be rehabilitated by prison. In fact, if you check out my YouTube channel, I've sat down with drug kingpins, human traffickers, which I know sounds weird based on what I do, but I'm curious. Like, invariably, their story begins with childhood incarceration. One of the most violent people I have ever met in my life, a dude we were actually hell-bent on getting off the streets, is now coming into the fold with the opportunities we're offering. Where was I going with that? Good Lord, ADD. His problem started in juvenile hall. He was so small the first time they arrested him, juvie didn't even have clothes that would fit him. And all of them will tell you the same thing. Like the first time they got arrested and you're in that system, it's damn near impossible to get out of it, for long. And you just learn how to be a better criminal in there. You learn how to do bigger crimes, and it's not fixing a damn thing.
So, Eric Ade was in the studio a couple months ago, and he was talking about the prison system in Pakistan being a process that he figured out eventually. Like, who was corrupt, who did this, who did X.
Pakistan's an interesting place.
Yeah. So, I mean, but when you start to think about it, like you expect the corruption over there, you don't expect the corruption here. But there's still a process in place. So when you say they're learning how to become maybe a better criminal, they're learning a system that becomes familiar with their whole lifestyle at a young age.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in South Memphis in particular, young men have a higher chance of being dead or incarcerated than they do of having a job or being in school. They have accepted that prison is a normal part of life. And that's like a really depressing thing to be talking, to an 18 or 20-year-old kid out there, and they just accept that at some point they're going to go to prison. And it's like this light bulb goes off. If you can have the realization, you don't have to do that. You could do things different. And so that's like one of those things we're trying to change the mindset out there. But yeah, I mean, you think about the jailhouse lawyers, like everybody's going to be telling you how you fucked up, how you got caught. And they're going to tell you to do it better. They're going to tell you how to make money easier. They're going to tell you, different ways to make it dope. They're going to tell you how to boost cars this way instead of that way. You're going to learn new hustles in prison, and none of them are good.
And none of them are pointing you out of prison again.
Correct.
Yeah, I see that. That's a cycle that they get caught up in. I've never thought about it like that, but that makes a lot of sense. So if you give them purpose outside of that, And so can you tell me, what is Owen Army?
So we struggle to raise money as the 501, the nonprofit. Like, I'm way better at making money than I am asking for money. And also asking for money just sucks. I'd rather make it. So we decided to launch Owen Army because I get hit up all the time. People want me to teach them how to do what we do. I don't have time. So I decided to see if I could get 100 people to enlist for $100 a month, and then I could fund making content.
Yeah.
So training videos, books, the list goes on and on. I don't think we have 100, but it did throw off enough money for me to get some content put up, and then also use the excess from that to equip guys going out on the streets who may not have anything to be prepared to do what we're doing out there. So, things like hygiene bags, that's one of the quickest ways to gain trust if you're working at HOTRAC. It's just pass out hygiene bags, pass out, packs of Newports. So that's Owen Army started as an idea for a training platform that would help augment fundraising. And that's exactly what it is. And it's doing pretty well.
Yeah. If someone wants to join that or give money to that,
owenarmy.com/join.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they can go out there and do that.
100%. And then we've actually, I'm trying to do more of this. We've met up with people from the Army. Like when I'm in DC, I'll drop it in the chat. Hey, I'm in DC. I took one dude to the premiere of the USS Call documentary, introduced a bunch of CIA people, the captain of the Call, the producer of the show. So it was pretty, it's pretty cool. I'm going to do it, I think in April, we're going out to LA. I'll do it there. Whoever I got in LA, I'm going to take them to the VFW Post 43 in Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we try to do meetups and stuff too.
That's really cool. Yeah. Through LinkedIn, I've met a couple of people that are like, yeah, I'm in his army.
Hell yeah.
I wonder what that means. I'm going to ask him.
Hell yeah. So the other idea behind it is, obviously, if somebody's going to pay $100 a month, knowing, you're just getting access to some training and you're going to help me do cool things in the streets, I know they have disposable income. So if I ever have a problem that pops up anywhere near them geographically, I know they have a heart for the mission, and I know they have a little more than they need. And so we may call on one of these people to go to trafficking recovery or to go assist law enforcement on trafficking recovery or to do X, Y, Z. So I'm trying to literally build an army of people I can deploy nationwide when we have stuff happen.
That's amazing. I love it. It's definitely needed. And I'm glad. Who else would do it? I mean,
you'd be surprised, man. A lot of people will show up. They just need
purpose.
We keep coming.
They need organization. They need a structure.
They need somebody to lead the charge on it. But we've responded to a lot of tragedies and disasters, like the Uvalde shooting. We provided security at 17 of those funerals. Still talk to those families to this day. I actually talked to them yesterday. We responded to the Q Club, which I guess that was a little different because one of our girls was killed there. So the fires in Maui, tornadoes in Wynne, Arkansas. And so the Army, Hurricane Helene, I started the Army after all of these things. But next time we have one of those things happen, you better believe I'm going to be calling my people saying, hey, we're going out here to do this. Can you come?
Yeah, totally needed.
Yep.
And I'm going to speak ill of the government on that. That was terrible, the way a lot of these disasters happen and get responses from the government.
It's hot garbage. That's the other reason that I started all of what I'm doing, is because when the seconds counts, the government's 3 months away. Bureaucracies can't solve problems at a grassroots level. And invariably, when you have a big natural disaster or a human tragedy of the scale like that, it's going to hit grassroots, the streets, the hardest.
Yeah.
And institutional help is going to take a long time to respond appropriately, if they ever do. I still don't think they've responded appropriately in Lahaina or in Western North Carolina.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And then it became less of a news cycle, so who cares?
That's exactly, and that is same thing with Uvalde. Like they're having the trial right now for Salvador Ramos, the shooter. Nobody knows that.
Nobody knows that.
Yeah, they haven't even covered it all. If you're not dealing with these people, you don't know.
It's back to your book, man. We're covering politics in America.
That's right.
If it's not politically charged, it doesn't stay in the media, which is bullshit.
It is. We've created one of those kind of self-fulfilling prophecies. Controversial stuff gets clicks. It gets shared. And the more that happens, the more ad revenue whoever wrote that article is going to make. And so they see we're encouraging them to do more articles that are divisive and inflammatory.
Yes.
because we click and share so much that's like, oh, I'll make more money if I do that again.
And they do. And yeah. Okay. So I want to go back to your book. I think it's so important because what you're doing is you're giving somebody more awareness of what they're allowing into their life. One of the things that I always preach is you got to be careful who you let into your life.
Yeah.
Because they will change it. And what I see happening is the people that we're associating with, even in social media, are creating this spin of sorts that doesn't need to happen. This is not the way I grew up, and I liked America the way it was, where you could have news and it wasn't spun one way or the other. And I just don't see that anymore.
No, it doesn't exist anymore. Objective news hasn't been a thing, I don't think, since the internet took off, man. And I think in large part it's because of what I just said. Like, they're incentivized based on the way they monetize website traffic to do things that are going to be sensational and clickbaity, you know, and I hate that. I don't know how to fix it. Like, that their revenue is tied to that. How do you stop that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there, because the news cycle as we knew it growing up has decreased. I know reporters that have lost jobs. The media, the presence of people has just decreased so much that where if you're not on board, we're kicking you off.
Yeah.
And now we're
we've run into, you see the same thing in DC right now. If you ever spending time up there, I hope you don't have to.
I hope I don't have to either.
This whole it's almost like you have to swear an oath of loyalty to one side or the other to even exist in DC, and that's tragic. Our nation was never intended to be that way.
Yeah. So I worked for the office of the president. Not for a president, but for the office of the president. And the president at the time was President Obama. And so I associated with a lot of people that are on the left side, and some of them are very far left. And sometimes when I post things, I get comments from them, and I didn't ask for those comments, you know.
Yeah.
And what I'm pointing out is what I believe to be right, because like you, I don't have a political alignment. I look at what's going on and I decide what's right and what's wrong.
Well, I think most of America really sits for where we sit on that. I saw something the other day that said we've got about 80 million people that are registered for one side or the other. It's pretty much split down the middle. We're a nation of 330 million people.
Yeah.
So the bulk of us don't care enough to pick a side, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe we care so much that we're unwilling to pick a side, because you can acknowledge that both sides are right on things, both sides are wrong on some things. Neither is going to be correct every single time.
It's a
hot mess, dude.
It is.
We were never supposed to be limited to a two-party system. And I hear people say all the time, well, you know, it's the lesser of two evils. That's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. You acknowledge that both options suck and you're going to pick one anyway.
Yeah.
Like, let's maybe fix the system.
I always like the real estate ads whenever we're going around the election cycle where it says moving to Canada. Both candidates up.
Yeah.
Like, that's about how a lot of Americans feel.
Yeah.
Comedy like that, it's funny because it's true. But no one's doing anything about it. So I'm glad your book's going to be there.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel like writing a book's not really doing anything about it either. I'm just trying to put what I think so many of us are feeling into words. And based on the feedback I've already gotten on socials from where I've posted a chapter or the abridged introduction or something, it went like 20 times as viral as my average post. And so I feel like the message is needed right now. I feel like the message is needed. And I'm definitely walking people in this book through how to start things at a grassroots level that allow you to avoid that two-party or two-choice trap and actually get shit done. Because if you try to just focus on appeasing one side or the other, or if you're afraid of offending one side or the other, you're not going to ever be able to accomplish anything. You have to be able, and it's not, you know, fence sitting. It's not, you know, trying to straddle the line in the middle.
That's
we're at, and I've got the receipts to prove it. We're doing stuff.
Mhm.
We're making big things happen, and I refuse to let it be tied to either political side, because it's not. It's the human side. It's the American side.
Yeah.
You know, you got the right, you got the left, you got Americans. And I think the overwhelming majority of us, black, white, brown, yellow, gay, straight, Muslim, Jew, I don't care. I think the majority of us would identify as Americans. But if you look on social media, or if you open a news article from literally any outlet, they would have you believe that the entirety of America is going to pick one side or the other and die for it. And that's not reality, at least from what I've seen on the streets. Do you know how many times I've been asked by somebody we're helping, whether it's a trafficking recovery or a homeless kid or an Afghan we're evacuating or a Ukrainian that we're helping remove mines? You know how many times they've asked me who I voted for?
No.
Zero.
None.
It's never happened. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
They care about what you're willing to show up and do, not what you think about a problem, but what are you actually going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what history is going to remember us for. They're going to remember us for what we did, not what we meant.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people need to remember that when they're getting online, you know, and if people you worked with are on one side or the other years ago and they're jumping in the comments saying dumb shit, maybe they should think back to what you actually did when they knew you in real life, not in this little digitally represented realm that so many of us want to believe is real.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. I see a lot of people losing Facebook friends, if you will, because of a small blip in time that's not going to even be a memory in 5 to 6 months from now.
Yeah. What just happened in Minneapolis is a great example of that, you know?
Yeah. It's divisive.
It's divisive as hell. Is it tragic? Absolutely. Does it mean I have to say one or the other or neither was right? No, I don't have to comment on it. It's tragic.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
I absolutely don't have to.
And you know, a few months ago, it was the Ukrainian girl on the bus in North Carolina, and then you know, we've had so many of these things.
There's a lot of them.
And everybody decides like this is my hill to die on. 3 months later, you don't remember anything about it, but you lost friends over it.
Yeah. Well, it's the next distraction, right? What about the Epstein files?
Right? Like, where are those things?
What's going on here?
Where are they?
I mean, really. No, I feel obligated to comment on military actions, being a part of the military for like 3 decades and being a part of a military family. Whenever something happens where the military does a good job, like whenever they just executed the evacuation of a president and no Americans died.
It was amazing.
They went in and took a president from another country who was a drug cartel guy. And this whole last year has been, you know, you think you're going to fight Afghanistan and then come and fight the cartels. It's going to be a different fight. Well, it sure does look like a different fight.
Yeah.
Because they just took your boss, buddy, and that's gangsters I've ever seen.
I'm fully supportive. I will rarely comment on things as hot button as that, but that one right there,
come on, man, I'm
all over it, dude. I'm fully in favor of that, and going into Mexico and taking out the cartels, bro. I've been all about that for years. Like I'm excited as could be to actually see something happen. People don't understand. I don't know if it's that they don't understand or they just never really took the time to think about it, but China is 100% waging unconventional warfare on America right now. They are, and this is going to sound like conspiracy, but you can Google it. It's actually true, and it's on congressional record. China incentivizes companies in China that export the precursor chemicals to fentanyl to Mexico. They get a tax break specifically for exporting that product to Mexico specifically. How are you going to tell me China's not trying to kill Americans? Fentanyl, if you're unaware, is the #1 cause of death for fighting age Americans. And it has been since, I think, 2021, more than car wrecks, suicide, and cancer, and something else combined.
Wow.
It's like 100,000 people a year dying of fentanyl, and most of them are, you know, aged 18 to 44. That's fighting age. That's terrifying. That's 2 battalions worth of Americans a week. It's a national security problem.
That's amazing. And I'm 100% behind what you just said as a national security problem. Being a graduate of a war college from our military, we have to study a lot of the things. And one of the things I learned in war college was the 100-year war that China's been waging on America.
Yep.
And we're like 80 years into it, 90 years into it. And if they could not
Time for
fire,
crescendo.
right? If they could not fire a bullet, if they could do it
Yeah.
without violence.
Well, and recruiting's at an all-time low. We're at or was.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's coming
was.
back up now.
I
but
think
it's still scary, man.
it's scary.
It's scary. And then I think the younger generation right now they're so disenfranchised with everything to do with politics. And I don't know what it is about the last 20 years, but the military has become very politicized. It doesn't matter who's in office, the military is political.
Yeah.
Or it is viewed as a political tool now. And I really do worry about the future of our military. I love hearing that Trump's wanting to increase the defense budget to $1.5 trillion. I hate government spending. Like I want to be clear about that, but I think it presents some pretty unique opportunities to people in defense space.
Well, back to commenting on the military stuff. I comment a lot about the military stuff. I think it's been a long time since the military's been looked at the way it's been looked at recently.
You're exactly right.
And I think the recruiting numbers that you mentioned, they were bad. And what were we telling everybody the military was? And now, what are they saying it is?
Right.
It's a difference.
Maybe you're absolutely right.
It's a difference.
And some of the content, like if people want to knock the Trump administration for some of the social media content they're putting out, you got to admit a lot of it's hilarious. But if
a lot of it is funny,
looking at the videos they're putting out about the military right now,
yeah,
bro, I want to go lie about my age to get back in now.
Right.
That's how badass they're making it. And that's how the military should be presented. Man.
Yeah.
That's how you remember the 80s Go Army commercial. Like, I need to get back to that. And now we've actually got a real world example. Like we went in and snatched a president
of a country.
Like that's pretty legit.
In front of China, by the way, who was there.
Yes.
It's just like, hey guys.
That sends a damn strong message.
Yeah. So whenever you're looking at what American Mike can do, you're going back to the 80s commercials where like, I do more before 8 a.m. than you do all day long. Those are the 80s commercials, and they're coming back, and I love it. The whole thing, man.
Well, the landscape of war fighting has changed so much. The advent of drones and now AI, there are some terrifying things coming out. And, as a guy that tried to go be infantry and my dad was an infantryman, like it kind of scares the hell out of me, but I think we need to modernize the way we're advertising and recruiting our military, which to be fair, the Trump administration has done an amazing job with that.
Yeah. I mean, I give props to them. I think the generation that is coming up is looking for ways to give back, and they're a grind culture. And no one wants to say that. I think the kids now, they've seen their parents, both of them, grinding, and they're like, that's the way life has to be. And that mindset is now shifting into existence in the adult years.
Yeah, I think the 18 to 25-year-old crowd right now,
yeah,
I really, for the first time in my life, have a lot of hope in the next generation.
Yeah.
Which is cool because 4 of my kids are in that age range. Yeah.
Yeah, you said something earlier about mixed martial arts and jiu-jitsu. Are you guys heavily involved in MMA now, or is that something recent?
James just started jiu-jitsu. Jess and I have actually, oddly enough, been involved with UFC and MMA for a long time. One of the businesses we had back in 2017, we were running social media and Shopify websites for several UFC fighters, and the largest collection of private autographed MMA memorabilia in the world. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, is that still going?
No, we ran into the ground. Yeah. It was a dude out of Pennsylvania. He ended up exiting. I think he made a buttload of money too. But it was cool for a while. Like we'd get to FaceTime with Matt Hamill. I've got Kimbo Slice and Anderson Silva autograph pictures.
That's sick.
Yeah, that was fun. So we've always loved UFC and MMA.
Well, if you guys can make it over to Phoenix sometime, I'll introduce you to some legends
that'd be awesome.
We have there. We got a lot of great fighters in that area, and
that'd be fantastic. We do have Phoenix on our radar for this year.
Yeah,
we want to do counter trafficking ops out there. I think they were talking. So I don't know if you've seen any of the posts, but we've got what we call the Interstate Justice Coalition. It's a partnership between us, Skull Games, which was founded by Delta guy Jeff Teagues, and Our Rescue. And so we've done a couple of ops in Memphis and North Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma. We're getting ready to hit I can't say that. We got some cool ones coming up.
Yeah.
But Arizona is on the list for this year for some ops.
Well, we definitely have a lot good there.
Yeah. And you guys have like the really ugly side of it.
We have a child trafficking problem.
Right. And like we don't run into that a whole lot in Memphis. Most of what we deal with is addiction-fueled prostitution, which is still human trafficking, sex trafficking. But the one that I think scares the hell out of everybody is what you guys got going on with child trafficking. Yeah. We have run into that in Memphis, but it's nowhere near as common.
The
border out there is
it's nuts, man. Yeah. Well, and the only way to really come up from Mexico is through Phoenix. So there's some crossroads there that are really, they're kind of scared. I keep the kids closer, and I'm watching a lot closer in certain areas. I'm not saying it's the worst ever. It's just I've been made aware of it, and now I'm more keen to. Yeah,
you guys definitely got some ugly stuff going on.
Yeah,
but the good news is you have a lot of really good people in the fight out there too.
Yeah. It's a sword and a shield, brother.
That's right.
You can have a big sword, and then the shield gets bigger, and you just continue going back and forth. So, as long as there's a need, there's going to be a delivery system, and that the logistics for this has gotten crazy. And I've talked to some people that are connected to the cartels, and they're telling me that the border's more open than ever before. And what I will tell people, this is a good crowd that I have, is if that's the case, it's probably because the government's monitoring what you're doing.
It wouldn't surprise me. I've seen some reports come out of the border that confuse me. The fentanyl seizures are way down, but is that because they're doing a better job on the border, or are they missing it? Because we're not seeing a reduction in fentanyl on the streets.
Yeah.
At some point, if they're stopping it, that would catch up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying to you is I'm hearing that it's easier for that type of logistics to happen now from nefarious actors who are making money off of it.
So that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. And so there's not a shortage of people that want to stop it. It's just the shortage of people that can.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this, my favorite federal agency to work with is Homeland Security Investigations, HSI. They're all awesome. They love doing task force style partnerships with people. However, their job was to interdict fentanyl down there. They've all been pulled into this giant, whole of government approach with ICE right now because HSI is technically under ICE. And so we're pulling the people that are supposed to be stopping fent and child trafficking coming across our southern border, and we're sending them to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
It's not the best. It's not the best.
Well, we had this saying in special operations that you can't overnight make special operators. You can't make special operations community happen quickly. And just because we see the need doesn't mean we're going to be able to get after it like we want to. So,
well, and a lot of the problems that we're talking about have been festering for decades.
Yeah.
You can't fix it overnight, and you also can't fix it painlessly. So there's got to be some give and take with a lot of this.
If you could magic wand do one thing that you think could change this whole dynamic, what do you think that would be?
Oh God.
Snap your fingers and something would happen and would change it. Because man, you're meeting it right there on the streets.
We're talking so many different problem sets,
right?
You could tell I've got ADHD just by looking at the work we're doing. I think military action against the cartels would be huge.
This is the second time I've heard that.
I do. I really do think it would be huge. However, is that going to change anything in South Memphis? No, it's not. It's not. And you just touched on why. The demand is in South Memphis, and the way market economies work, when there's demand, somebody is going to find a way to supply it. So while I do think military action against cartels absolutely should happen and has probably already started happening, to actually answer your question, man, I don't know. I don't know a single policy or step that could be taken to just end the problems that we're addressing out there. If I had a genie in a magic wand, ending inner city poverty would go a long way. Introducing economic opportunity and capitalism into the hood would go a really long way. But that's one of those things, like if You handed me $1 billion, a billion with a B.
Yeah.
You know, I could go make everybody in the hood where we operate not poor anymore. You come back in 10 years, you're going to have the same problems, though, because you have to have somebody there actually building up the economy, the local economy. You have to have people coming in. You can't just throw money at the problem, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's a really complex question, even though it sounds really simple. Addressing blight would go a long way. And these are all things like we're trying to do on a small scale. And I'm giving you these examples because we've seen these play out in reverse violent crime statistics. Like on 2 of the worst streets in South Memphis where we started operating, we haven't had violent crime in years. And they used to be some of the worst. And what we did, we addressed blight. We took over the trap houses. We helped the dope boys onto a better path. We got as many of the addicted prostitutes clean as we could. And then we started mentoring the kids on these streets. And that pattern, if you go block by block doing that, eventually, over time, you're gonna make the whole city better.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there's a magic wand you could wave to do all of those steps. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah, I get your answer. It isn't one thing; it's multiple things.
Yeah, it's like people need to give a shit about their communities again. These look,
and it goes back to people.
These are our streets. We're not going to wait on the government to come fix them. We don't want the government to come fix them. The government can't fix them; it can only make them worse. Any solution the federal government offers is going to just complicate things at the end of the day. We need people to actually start showing up in their communities. You think back 150 years ago, we didn't have all these safety net programs, and yet somehow people survived. Well, it's because the churches took care of each other. It's because communities took care of each other. And so, we need to find a healthy balance between dependence on Big Brother or independence from Big Brother and loving our neighbors again. I think too many of us have become selfish. I think we look at a lot of this in-group, out-group, the racial differences, wealth differences. But if you actually walk out there on the streets, none of those things even matter. And I think more Americans need to go walk out on the streets close to them and realize that the real world is not what you see reflected on social media. The real world doesn't care about politics or party or ideology. It cares about what can you do? What are you here to do?
Yeah.
Do you see the problems the same as I do? Even though we might look at the way to address it differently, do we both want the same thing at the end of the day? And if the answer to that question is yes, you can work together. It doesn't matter how politically different you are.
I think the saying is real recognizes real.
There you go.
And that's where reality needs
That's
to
right.
strike again. I think we got a lot of people playing fake on Facebook or, Instacart and trying to figure out how to be a beacon of someone who's trying to help. They're trying to appear like it, but they're not.
Yeah, they want the appearance of giving a shit, when in reality they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They care about the appearance more than the actual outcome. And that sucks. That sucks, dude.
It does suck. I had a friend of mine who was telling me, he said, if we just ask these people who are saying that they want to help, if they will take in 1 or 2 people that need it, we'll see how far that help goes. And then we can go from there.
So I've wanted so badly, so many times, to just nut check these virtue signaling clowns on Facebook that will come at the ICE thing, for example. I get accused of being, a racist and an anti-immigrant and all this other bizarre stuff. I'm literally hiding in a refugee from ICE in my own home. I'm putting her through college. We're not hiding her from ICE. We're hella better now. We've talked.
Well, let's talk about that. They're not going after that. They're going after criminals that they built cases on.
100%.
So I don't know where this misnomer is coming from. It's what it is today.
Yeah.
So you're being accused of things that are absolutely not true.
And you prove it. We're fostering a 2-year-old black girl from South Memphis right now because her brother got shot 6 times and her mom went to jail. Guess who paid her mom's bond and is trying to get her through rehab now?
You.
But I'm not going to go. I don't have the time to explain that to everybody that's hopping in my comments talking,
Nor do you need to.
Nor do I need to.
You don't owe that.
You don't
owe that to them. You don't owe that to that.
No, I don't. And I have to remind myself of that. They don't deserve my time. They're not entitled to my time. I don't have to explain anything to them. I'm just going to keep posting my dumb little signs that put a smile on people's faces and hopefully inspire somebody to go love on somebody that doesn't look like them today.
Do you do it every day?
I tried to.
Yeah. And you're on LinkedIn, Instagram,
Facebook. X, Black Rifle. My data company's on X.
Okay.
I should make it personal, but I just don't have time for all that.
I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, it takes so much more time.
It does,
Every account that you open, it takes more time unless you have somebody managing it for you.
Yeah, and I'm not there yet. I just can't afford that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, let's talk about that. I hired some people from other countries, and I helped them out, and they do a really good job with my stuff.
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
we actually, not for social media, because I think it'd be so hard for somebody that doesn't speak English as a first language to capture my tone, because so much of what I do is writing.
Yeah,
you know?
it's you.
But when we're talking about the software we're developing for targeting bad actors and stuff, we're looking at developers near shore. It's like Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I've definitely, there's a lot of talent out there. I've hired video editors in Pakistan.
Jamaica is a good place for me.
Really? I'll have to check. Do you use Fiverr or Upwork, or you just find them?
Upwork is a good one. I like that. But no, sometimes they just reach out to me. I'm sure you get this, you get a message or like, hey,
Yeah.
I like your whatever, your
Yeah.
product or service. Let me work for you for free. And then I'm like, I don't know if return down any free. Someone wants to come work for me and they think they can do good. We'll see.
Yep.
I'll let them try it.
T-shirt brand. Am I wearing one of our shirts?
Yeah, be a badass. Have a kid. That's what your shirt
The
says.
dude that did most of our designs is in Mexico.
Yeah.
And I love him to death. He's cool as crap.
My kid recognizes AI t-shirts.
Oh,
he's like, oh, that's AI.
Yeah.
It's just he's like, it's not bad. It's just I recognize it. He's like, they need to hire a designer. So like old school designers actually still sell. So
Yeah.
I have a drop shipping t-shirt company. I have a couple designs. One says "Made in America," and the other one says, "Stop whining, start doing."
There you go.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. It's like, those type of things. They require a design.
Yeah.
By a human, and you can't get rid of that, man. I don't care how good your AI is.
No, you can't, and that you can absolutely pick out AI art. Does that mean I don't use them? Nope, I still use it.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, but our Santiago is our guy's name in Mexico, and he's just fun to work with. He's just a fun guy.
How'd you meet that guy?
Fiverr,
yeah. I love Fiverr, man.
Fiverr's
good. All right, I got one final question for you. It's one that I ask most of my guests, and it's a serious question. We're talking to men 25 to 39 here. So let's go back to you're 25 again, and you know everything you know now. What would you tell yourself as a 25-year-old you?
That is such a good question, and I actually think about this an unusual amount. That there's so much I would want to tell myself. I think. But it's hard because I could tell myself these things, and I know myself at 25. I'm not going to listen. Hard work pays off. Period. There's a saying that luck favors the diligent. That's very true. If you're wanting to start a business, you only got to work half days. Doesn't matter if it's the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours. All right. Put time into the things that matter. Give them your full attention, because that attention will pay off. And I'm talking mostly to entrepreneurs here, because that's who I enjoy mentoring, and that's who I was at 25.
Yeah.
But just pick something that you enjoy doing and start dumping time into it. Don't be a control freak. That was the huge mistake I made early on as an entrepreneur. I was afraid employees were going to steal my ideas and run with them because they were so easy, and a crackhead drunk could do it, Don't do that. You got to learn to trust people. You've got to learn to delegate. You don't have to control everything around you. And most importantly, you don't have to control anybody around you. The most valuable lesson for me that I think I ever learned, my first AA sponsor, I was such a know-it-all. He told me I had to, like it was his rule, I had to let somebody else be wrong every day. They had to say something wrong, and I was not allowed to correct them. You might be right. That single little mental exercise changed the way I viewed a lot of things in life. I don't have to be right. I don't have to be in control. I can let other people be wrong. And I think now there's like this whole movement around this called Let Them book or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something to that. It really helped me get rid of my ego, which if you've heard my whole story, that was my biggest problem my entire life has been my ego. I could not get out of my own way. And that simple act of allowing somebody else to enter my life and be incorrect about something flipped a switch in my head that just let me start being okay with things. And then just as a broad generalization, any 25-year-old dude out there, don't do anything to change the way you feel when you don't like it, if it's a substance. All right. Because that is a dangerous and slippery slope. If you don't like the way you feel, address it. Don't drink at it. Because I never thought my story would end with crack and heroin, but it sure as hell did. So thanks for attending my TED Talk.
Yeah. So in summary, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
The harder you work, the luckier you get. And I've proven this time and time again. I have found myself homeless due to my bad decisions 3 different times, and I have come back every time. Not because I'm lucky, not because God picked Ben out, but because I understand how to not give up.
Yeah. And results don't care about your feelings.
No, they really don't. And also outcomes don't care about your intent. If you're going to go out in the world and try to do something good, make sure you actually do something good, not just mean to do good.
That's deeper than a lot of people. I mean, we'll replay that because that's deep. I mean, for real. All right. How do people find you?
Ben Owen, Facebook, LinkedIn, wefightmonsters.org, owenarmy.com. And then monstersapparel.com.
Monsters Apparel.
I think that's all of them.
All right. We'll put them all in the show notes.
Awesome.
Ben Owen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Alice.
I have something for you. I give it to people. I gave it to Mike Tyson. I just gave it to Sheriff Lamb. This is my pirate flag patch. It's a gingerbeard flag.
Yeah, dude, I love this.
I pirated a pirate flag.
Hey, look, I have I almost wore it. It's on my other hat.
Yeah.
It's Forward Observations Group Blackbeard patch.
Yep.
It looks just like that without the colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. So, my bloodline goes back to, piracy. My clan fought off people that were trying to enslave our people. We killed them, stole their boats, got called pirates. Yes, right.
That's awesome.
So I adopted the pirate mentality, and
I like that.
And I think you're a true pirate when it comes to leading people in the right ideas and in their life in the right way. So
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. From one pirate to another, from a guy who does not quit. That's what that flag means.
I love it.
I want to give it to you.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, brother. One more question. All right, the Knuckles. It says lost hope. What's the story on that?
So obviously my story started because I lost hope. That was rock bottom for me. And today I carry hope to the lost. And so I got to always remember where I come from, and I got to remember why I'm here.
Every day you look at your hands.
Every day. And I've had these for years, and that is the first time anybody's ever asked me to explain it to them. So.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for sharing it with our audience, because that's an amazing thing. You're an amazing man, and I can't wait to continue to support your successes as you.
Likewise, dude. I can't wait to get out to Phoenix with you all.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm gonna shake on that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make it happen.
I love it.
I really am.
Let's do it. And I'm gonna close this out. So we are a top 1% show on YouTube because of people like you. Remember to aim for excellence and stay on target. I'm Atlas Aultman. Until next time.
Boom.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted Now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now. Entrepreneurs, you're wasting money. Are you paying for TV, radio, maybe even newspapers? I gotta tell you, that's all dead. What's new? Well, I'm glad you asked, Atlas. It's podcasting. Just so happens I have a very successful podcast that I can put you on. And we're looking for guests. So if you have a product or service that will help people, hit us up. Atlas Aultman Targeted Podcast. We bring new audiences to new people, and we bring new people to, well, you. Check us out.